They're going to take this system from box into the vehicle for drive out on Friday. It's going to be in the parade on Friday. It will be running. They're going to start doing the install. You'll see them actually putting in an EV powertrain into a vehicle and be ready to drive on Friday for the parade.
You seem like you're pretty confident that this thing's going to drive out of here.
I'm pretty confident.
All right, I like that. I am here with my man Martin from Ampere EV.
Yes, sir. The way that we look at it, our philosophy is we do the engineering, the builders do the building.
Okay.
So we've created a complete holistic EV system that has everything you need, but is vehicle agnostic. So you can take this system and have everything from your battery modules all the way down to your HV lines and junction box, all ready to go with our VCU tuning. Everything works together. Our software is key. Everything is tuned against a Model 3 to drive well when you plug it together. We ship this whole system to you. You do the build that you're good at. So we make it for builders.
This EV industry, the conversions, these things aren't going anywhere. No matter what you want to build, what you want to drive, you can convert it to electric, and you do a couple of things. One, you make it tenfold more reliable. If it makes you sleep good at night, you can call it, green. And definitely what we concentrate on is going fast.
Right? Like this thing's all about going fast. Yeah, so we have the complete system here. Today we're going to start off by taking out some of these parts, showing you what comes with the Atom Drive system when it gets shipped to you. Then the installers will get started. They're going to take this system from box into the vehicle for drive out on Friday. It's going to be in the parade on Friday. It will be running. We have over 30 cars out in the wild. We've got Southfield over here. They have our system in their trucks. They're the first low volume manufacturer certified company.
Okay.
That's something that SEMA got passed in 2015 and nobody has been able to do to this point. Right about 3,500 miles on that green truck right there.
Nice.
Went through the EPA certification, went through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration certification, California CARB certification. They can put a bin on it and sell it as new. And then we've got people out there like Green Thumb Garage has our Atom Drive system in it, and it has the Revolt motor. Over 8 motors right now that we offer with the kit, with the system.
What's the horsepower range on those?
Horsepower range is from about 280 up to 603, the big dog, right? That large drive unit. This motor is from Maverick. This one's kind of a small drive clone, if you will. It's a great brand new motor with a warranty, which you can't get on a small drive. This one will do 300 horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque.
If you guys want to gather around, we're going to start looking into some boxes, and it's Christmas time.
Instead of having a fuel tank, you have your battery modules, right?
Right.
So in this case, we have 42 kilowatts, and we have 3 battery modules that make that up. So that takes the place of your fuel.
Okay.
That's what you got there. You got to have cooling. So batteries need to be in the perfect happy spot that they live in. So you have both cooling and you have heating on those. So if you're up north, you're in a cold environment, they'll heat up. You won't have any problems there. If you're down south, we got sub-ambient cooling available for you.
Right.
We keep that cool. So you have your thermal management loop. Same thing for your motor, because you got to take heat off your motor.
Right.
You got to take heat off your charger.
Yeah.
And then you have, your DC to DC, which is like your alternator. Right. And the nice thing about our powertrain system is you have all the creature comfort options as well.
Okay.
So you have AC, heat,
power brakes, power steering.
Power brakes come with the car, but it ties into our VCU. Okay. And then probably the most important thing that we offer is our own VCU with all of the systems integrated and all of the software and tuning ready to go for you. So you say that you're going to get a Maverick motor, we hit the Maverick option, everything is tuned out for that Maverick motor. Okay. You say you're going to get a Revolt motor, we hit the Revolt option, everything is tuned out for that. So you don't have to sit there and mess around with torque curves and tuning and that sort of thing. You're ready to go. It's going to drive like a Model 3 out of the box. And all the vitals for the vehicle come through the GUI touchscreen. You also have the option of adding in gauges.
All right. So it looks like you can make one phone call and have everything you need to I guess, get your car converted and back on the road. Okay, all right, I like it. Okay, so what he's gonna open is a charger and an HV junction box.
Junction box is where all the high voltage comes into it. So we take all the 400 volts, bring it into the junction box. We've got everything fused in there. We've got a contactor in there, and then we distribute it out. So everything comes from the battery, then you've got your motor controller coming out of here, you've got your AC if you've optioned that, your heater for your battery packs, which comes with every single one, or your second heater for your cabin heat, being powered off of that. And then we have our CAN communications going on in here as well. This helps us to loop everything in together, right? It's like a junction box on your home. All your power comes from the street, and then you distribute it out through the house.
Almost like a combination of your fuel delivery system and a fuse box.
Exactly.
Okay, how does this charger work? Where we get AC coming into this thing and then DC coming out to the motors.
Yeah, so it's basically a transformer. So you're bringing that AC in, you're switching it over to DC. You're able to charge your batteries off of that. And then what this also does is it steps down your 400 volts, gives you your 12 volt system. So just like an alternator on a car, you're still powering all the 12 volt in the car. The low voltage side of the system, of the drivetrain, does use 12 volt. And then you've got your other stuff like your radio, your headlights, all those things that are already in the car need to be powered. So it does the same thing. It provides all of that and tops up your 12 volt battery.
Well, let's open another box. Let's see what else we got here.
So we're into the GUI.
What does that mean?
Yeah, the engineers love calling it a GUI. It's a touchscreen. This is the touchscreen unit, just like a stereo, car stereo that you put in. In fact, it has car stereo functions on it, Apple CarPlay, Android Audio, navigation, everything's built into this, but it also takes CAN. But this displays all the information for you that's coming from that VCU. And it does take the place of your car stereo, takes the place of your navigation. So that way, when you're converting one of these vehicles, you can have a nice display on there. We offer 4 different
So this is like a translator. Takes all that information, shows it to you in English on the screen.
Yep, it's a translator, tells you everything about your vehicle. So if you went into your car screen and looked at system settings and you know, your oil temperature and all those sorts of things, it'll tell you your state of charge, it'll tell you how much mileage you have left, it'll tell you how warm your batteries are running, how warm your motor's running. So you can have that in gauges as well, but you can also have it on the screen. And then you can flip things on there as well, like you can turn off your regen, your one pedal driving. You can turn it on or off. You can choose eco, normal, or sport mode. So you have those functions and those controls inside of the touchscreen.
What do we have next?
Battery heater. So batteries like to be in the perfect range of temperatures. Some people might remember in Chicago it got real cold last winter, and they had all these EVs and like, oh, EVs don't run when it's cold out. Well, that's what your battery heater does. And all of these OEM companies have thought this through and they heat their batteries, right? So if it's really cold out, one of these are being built in Canada, you got your battery heater on there, it gets your batteries up to the temperature that you want them. Now, normally batteries give off a lot of heat and you're taking away heat, but in those cold environments, you need to warm up your batteries so you make sure you're not damaging them. Batteries are happiest between 60 and 90 Fahrenheit. That's where they want to be. Anything outside of that, you're getting less performance. You're actually stressing the battery itself. So that's a tough thing. So in this case, okay, we're going to warm them up. On this car, it doesn't have it. We also have sub-ambient cooling. So let's say you're in Arizona or you drive it on the track, right? So that hooks in through your AC compressor, cools that coolant, taking more temperature out of the batteries. Yeah, we have one of the most important parts and something that's kind of our secret sauce and that we're very proud of. So we do a VCU and we do all the programming for the VCU. Now, VCU isn't unique to us. AEM uses it. This actually comes out of a Lamborghini Diablo. Out of a Diablo. The Bosch VCU. But the software that's on it, all of this integration of all these components is our software design. So a lot of development goes into this. This is the brains of your vehicle. This controls everything from your AC to how much torque you're putting out of the motor, how quickly everything's going to charge. So charge controller, this is the brain of the charging, right? So you've plugged into your wall, you plugged into an outlet, you plugged into a charger somewhere. This is what tells that charger how much power to give it, right? What the batteries can take, goes through the VCU and says, hey, communicates with the wall charger, which, you know, they've got a wall charger right over here. We think of that as a charger. That's really just a sophisticated plug on your wall, right? It's just pumping the power out, but there's 2 little communication networks that talk to each other and say, this car can take X, handshakes are good, and that's what this does.
What is this spaghetti mess here? Tell me what we got here. Oh my goodness.
Talking about the low voltage wiring harness, right?
So
this takes care of everything from the VCU to every component, all the way to your 12 volt on your vehicle. So we do every connector for you to your custom length. Then we throw it on a table, does a test of all the connections, make sure that all the connections are good. Because if you mess up one of these, you might not be able to control the charge controller. The GUI might not work. Something like that, right? But this would get shipped to a customer. It would be the full length one, which is 19 feet long, right? And then you would go through to where you're going to put every component, lay everything out, mark it off for us, send it back to us. We will do all the pin outs and connections for you. It comes back to you fully tested. You're able to plug and play.
And one of the things that is the most tedious is pinning something like this. This is a tedious job, and you need to pay attention and you have to do it correctly, because if you get one of those pins out of whack, you could fail to control something or blow something up. That is a great addition.
One other thing we make sure of is that you're using all the right connectors. So classic Deutsch connector that's waterproof rated. You want to make sure that everything is ready for automotive. It's all automotive grade things that have the cavity plugs in them so you keep the water out.
Yeah.
Those are things you have to think about. You don't want shorts going through your vehicle. So Legacy puts together a binder for their trainings that has all of the documentation that Ampere EV puts out for the Atom Drive system. So this is installation, system checks, how to pin out 12-volt wires, how to do HV cable. Even if it's being done for you, all the instructions are here. How to connect everything, how to connect your coolant loops, everything. You got dimensions there on a Cascadia motor. You've got right there, you're looking at how to do an Amphenol connector. We feel documented everything is very important because we're engineer driven. So everything's in here all the way to a first start guide, and then also just a guide to driving. So if you're building one of these for a client, for a customer, right? You're one of these shops, you're building, you're gonna hand it off to the customer eventually.
Right.
They need to know how to use everything. So it's a little mini owner's manual that allows them to drive it. So we have OBD2 reader capability. So you can go to any OBD2, right, if you have your own, or if you go to like an AutoZone, they can plug in. We have standard codes, and then we have our own unique codes. Then you have the translator that tells you exactly what's going on. Makes it more livable for the customer. So if you took the time to take the CADs that we give you, place everything out, you build your subframes, you have all your lanes, you send them to us, we send them back to you. You can literally do the assembly within 4 days, which is what we're going to do here.
Yeah.
You know, start to finish, you're doing a unique vehicle, you got to do some of that design work. Probably the minimum you're going to do is about 3 months on the first one, right?
Yeah.
But then you rinse and repeat. You've got your designs, then you said go to send, cut, send, and get your subframes back. You start pumping them out, and you get faster and faster and faster and faster. So we give the rinse and repeat. We can get you down on an assembly line to pumping these things out. Or if you're building a one-off, we can make it easy by taking care of the wires and the HV for you. You'll see. 4 days, this thing will be assembled and running.
Tell me a little bit about this build. Now, how do you plan on going about getting this done in 4 days? That seems pretty fast.
You know, we're just going to push it really hard, really fast, get it done on time, wheels spinning by noon.
Now they're educated, obviously smart guys that built EVs before.
Yeah.
They know what these components are. They know how this thing goes together.
Yeah, we're basically doing it as a customer. You're going to open all these boxes. We're going to go step by step.
Yeah.
We're going to put it all together. I like it. I think it's going to be a good time.
All right. Now, have you had a chance to review any of the documentation? So you're coming to this cold.
I've skimmed it.
Okay.
We've went through the pages a little bit here and there, looked at some stuff. We're pretty confident that we can take care of something like this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's time to get started.
It's party time.
Yeah.
All right, man. Your instructions are right down there. Okay, so the builders have installed the receptacle for the charger plug. Of course, you got to have a place to put that charger plug. This one is 110, 220. We can also do the DC to DC fast chargers, the level 3 charging, if you will. They've got that installed, they're moving right along, and now they are lifting up battery modules. So each one of those weighs about 200 pounds, so they have the gantry crane here today to help them out. So they got about 400 pounds on there. Together, all 3 of those modules are 42 kilowatt hours. And so individually right there, that's about 28 kilowatt hours. They'll be bringing it over, putting it in place on the back of the vehicle, being very, very careful. And this is the big lift part. Let's see if they can pull it off. Any questions I can answer for you?
Electric vehicle sometime, huh?
They're building an electric vehicle, so the factory 5 818 chassis. They're putting all of the components for an electric powertrain into it over the next couple days, then we're going to drive it out in the SEMA parade on Friday.
On Friday night?
Yep.
And what bodies are going to have on?
No body, keep it naked.
Just like it is?
Just like it is. The big rear wing's off over to the side, but it's got that big front splitter and the big rear wing, and it looks pretty mean as it's going.
And you started with nothing on it?
So we rolled it in with basic components. We left the suspension, the wheels and brakes and everything on there. We're just doing the electric powertrain.
This is your harness here, and it's perfectly organized and detailed out, and it'll tell you exactly where to plug which into where, and you don't have to deal with looking at the 40 different wires there. It's all nicely organized for you.
Yeah, so this comes from our VCU, goes to every piece of the powertrain system. It'll go drive all of your auxiliary 12-volt options. It has CAN communication built in. Everything's shielded the way it should be shielded. So it takes all that guesswork, all the pin work, all the connector work out. That way you're not spending much time doing pins. You're not spending much time tracking down which connector you did incorrectly, what pin or wire pulled out. Everything is tested on our bench tester before we send it out, and it's all done for you with the Legacy package. They have the heater, they have the PDUs, everything is getting installed in here, telemetry components, the vector charger, so lots of the little components that you don't think about when you're like, oh, I'm gonna build an EV. These are all the things you need to build an EV that works day in, day out. They've got that all installed, and now it's time to get this 12-volt harness installed so everything can talk to each other and be powered. That's their big task for today, and once they get through that, everything else is easy peasy. So you get a touch screen, you get 4 options on the sides there. So that actually gives you all the readouts for the EV powertrain, but it also gives you Apple CarPlay, Android Audio, navigation, any Android app you want to throw on there, you can put on there. So you get a screen in your classic car, but it actually has function, not just a readout of how much battery power you have. As far as like heated seats and those sorts of things, those will still be on the 12-volt side of the car, but this ties into the 12-volt side of the car, ties back to your battery. EV system tops off your 12-volt battery when it's on, and then your 12-volt battery powers everything else on the car. A lot of that stuff does come out of the vehicle, but everything ties back in, and topping off that 12-volt is integrated into the system. And something that Legacy EV teaches in their trainings is that right now I should probably have high voltage gloves on, crook to pull me off just in case something happens to me. But with the Ampere system, it is touch safe. I can touch these 2 terminals right here and not take 400 volts. So if everything is not connected correctly, if there are any faults that show up, the 400 volt system does not turn on. So right now, nothing's hooked up. Over here, the 400 volt system does not turn on. What that does for you is you don't have to wear HV lineman's gloves and try to do an installation like these guys are doing, which is like being an astronaut working in space, trying to work with little connectors and get them right. Or it's kind of some of the little things you don't think about that you need. You need pumps for your coolant. You need reservoirs for your coolant. You need all the hoses and the clamps for your coolant. We include all of that in here. And then we have our junction box. So our junction box is another plug and play aspect of it. It has all of the HV going through it. It does all the system check, HVIL, which is checking to see if there are any faults in the system. It does through this. It won't turn anything on unless the system is good to go. But it also controls if you have the cabin option, cabin heater option, it controls that heater. It controls the AC compressor. And so everything goes through this box, makes it nice and easy where you plug the connectors in and you're good to go. We've got fuse boxes, we've got PDUs, those distribute the power throughout the 12-volt system. Very important, that's all included. The HV connections and the amphenols back here are included, and we take care of putting the amphenols on there, which is a very difficult task. It's got a hydraulic crimper, you gotta have the right pressures, all of those things. One little mistake in there and your system will not run. That's the motor. So this is what one type of electric vehicle motor looks like. This is a Maverick 25 motor. It's got a nice compact form factor. It's got a single speed gearbox coming out of it. It's got your inverter built in. These motors run off the 400 volts. They have 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque out of this little tiny motor. What actually takes up the space in an EV is the batteries. That takes up more space than a motor would in a traditional ICE.
How much time did you have with the documentation before this build started?
We had time.
Couple minutes.
Yeah, we had time, but we honestly didn't take it. They sent the information to us early, but we were trying to get ready for SEMA and everything like that, and just thought, it'd be like, let's just go from zero and see what happens.
I had confidence in us. I knew we were going to be all right.
Nice.
I've heard good things about the Atom Drive, so I wasn't surprised by anything, which is cool.
I came in absolutely blind. I didn't know what car we were doing, what system we were doing. I was just told we're wiring up a car. So the Atom Drive was great. Just the plug and play aspect of it and everything, just fantastic. Yeah.
This would be the first one I've ever done that it was actually a complete plug and play system.
Yeah.
That's not our experience up till now.
Yeah, we've done mainly just custom every time, tailored to the vehicle. So doing something that's already pre-planned, laid out, plug and play. It's great.
When we started looking through the manual, I realized that they obviously really thoroughly thought it all through. Highlighted the item that you were putting on within the chassis, so you knew where it went, not only from the description, but from the picture that they had put together.
It was also kind of just nice to go through everything and just see components that we actually haven't used before on other projects per se. That like, oh wow, that's really nice. We should use that, here.
Yeah.
There. It was just really like cool components.
We saw a couple pieces that are new to us,
Right.
so that's neat.
That we'll definitely implement in going forward in projects we're using, or we're doing. We'll definitely use the components they have here.
Having pre-cut lengths on everything's labeled. We like that. It makes it easy.
Yeah, save a lot of time.
It's like
for sure.
cheating for
Yeah,
us.
it is.
I mean, to do something like this from scratch would have taken the three of us at best a week, if not two. And that would be all three of us on it 8 hours a day, starting from scratch. And that's the assumption that you know what every pin and every component needs, what it needs and where it's supposed to go to, which is a whole nother enormous amount of time to define before you even start wiring it.
This actually has a whole lot of length and everything added to it, so it really is kind of universal, if you will, to pretty much anything that you're putting it into. So it was nice in that aspect because I still had to put the man hours in on that harness over there to lengthen things and stuff. But over here, yeah, it was just super convenient that everything was ready to go. Yeah, I mean, it would definitely cut down time, and after going through the system and everything and installing it, it's definitely on my radar now. We're definitely going to consider it going forward with our.
I think it's one of the things that the price point's going to be higher than maybe some other kits available. But if you've been through the process of actually doing a wiring harness from start to finish, at the end of the day, if you're having to pay somebody to do the wiring for you, something like this that's already pre-terminated is going to save an enormous amount of money in the full project.